I look at life never in black and white.
Just some people spoiling the hard work.
But they had to pay me out because I haven't done anything wrong. Of course it feels bad not to have coached in the World Cup.
Hi and welcome to Khel Now TV, and today with me I have very special guest. I think and Indian football fans in last 7-8 years wanted to listen from this man, and I think maybe it's just faith that we are here and we got a chance in German rainy weather to talk to Mr. Nicolai Adam. Coach, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, and welcome to Germany. Like you said, typical German rainy weather, but at least it's not too cold.
And first of all, congratulations for the work you are doing with Bundesliga International, with Frankfurt, and helping out different communities worldwide. And I think, of course, India and Indian football needed you for a longer period. It's just, I will say, not luck, but just some people spoiling the hard work done by you and before World Cup. But I was going through the list of players who were with you in that AFC Under-16 Championship final round in Goa, and most of them are at least doing very well in ISL and the national team, and then you should be proud. But first thought, Indian football. If somebody asks your thoughts on Indian football, what will your thoughts on Indian football? You have been there 2-3 years, worked in an important role, which was preparing a team for a first ever Under-17 World Cup for India.
Look, no matter what happened, first of all, it was for me personally a great experience. I do not want to miss. As people know, I had my family with me. They went to school in Goa, to a private school. And even up to today, we still talk about the time sometimes. And we still have really good friends in India. People from India, but also foreigners. I look at life, I'm now 51 years old. I look at life never in black and white. There are a lot of good things but in order to enjoy the good things, you also sometimes have to experience bad things. The really good part of the whole Indian experience were actually the players. I think that those kids we selected and tried to develop to their full potential, developed in short time really to a level where they were internationally competitive.
And coach, I was with you from last few days, and we saw there's a squad from India, scouted boys under 13 here training under you at Frankfurt facilities. There's a one story you keep on telling about Suresh Singh wangjam. He's an India international. The Bull is known as, playing for Bengaluru FC, has a good contract, regularly playing for India. What is that story, which I think upcoming footballers should know about?
I think Suresh might remember the story. When we came to the World Cup Academy in 2015, we had an A, B and C squad. By the way, I have to say the work that was set up there before was quite well done. We came in, my assistant coach and me, we came in, and of course we changed a couple of things, but we could look at a good foundation. And Suresh was actually a boy who played always in the C squad. The C squad, not the first squad, not the second squad, the C squad. But we very quick saw his potential. The problem was he was always injured. But the injuries were quite, a little muscle injury.
It was
there.
here.
I think honestly it was more in his head. So at one point, and it happened as I say it, I took him and I said, Suresh, there are two choices you have. Choice A is you still continue like you do. You are always injured, but you won't make it anywhere. Or you say, okay, no, I have to change. The time of injuries is over. And that's actually what he did. During my time, he was never injured again. And you basically confirm what I thought about him at the time. He's the Bull. He's a machine. He's really physically very strong. And yeah, this is one of the stories I still remember.
And since then, now he's never afraid of any tackle, anything in that regard. Fantastic as a midfielder. But there's a question I ask while training and everything, that who was the best potential or best player in your squad? And I took lots of names, but eventually I forget him, and then you told me it was Amarjit Singh Kiyam.
Yeah, for me, Amarjit was the most complete player at the time. Especially, when I judge a player's performance or his potential, of course, I have to see it in relation to his position. And Amarjit and Suresh played in my team basically number 6 position. And Amarjit he could do the long passing, the crosses. He was okay in the air. Really good 1v1 offense as defense. Had a good anticipation. And maybe a little too quiet. That was where Suresh was better. But in total, for me, Amarjit was the most complete player at the time.
I know, fast forward now, he had a decent under-17 World Cup. Under-19 was one of the most chased player, but then went to Jamshedpur FC, was the captain of the club, playing regularly for them. But then he made a move to FC Goa, and since then he's not the Amarjit we know. Struggling with Goa, then went to Round Glass Punjab. I just want you to maybe send a message to him so that maybe he can regain his confidence, because you're telling me that at that time he could eventually, if get trained properly, could have made it to the level of Bundesliga 2 or maybe the lower league in Europe.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. Amarjit, if you hear this, in my opinion, as I said before, you have a really big potential. You were never injured, actually. You were really good dealing under pressure and with stress. Focus on your foundation and don't set up the goals too high. See it step by step and remember the time what made you strong. And I'm pretty sure by the time now you are actually in the best age for a football player, mid-20s, and the best players actually go through times like that. And if you can come up again and maybe perform like before, I would be really happy to hear that.
And coach, I was going through some of the player list, at the Goa Championship, and starting from goalkeeper, 3 brilliant goalkeeper, Dheeraj Singh, Parsun Singh Gill, Mohammad Nawaz, all 3 playing in ISL. Yeah. Dheeraj already, I think, made his senior team or under 23 debut also. Coming into the defender list, Boris Singh, also now kind of regain his form, playing now regularly. Jitendra Singh, Narendra Singh, both the defenders also regularly playing. Suresh Singh, of course, we touch upon. Amarjit Singh Kiyam, we touch upon. Ninthoy Methei, also doing well in ISL now. Just made his move to the Round Glass Punjab. Komal Thatal, that's the one potential. We'll talk about it a bit later. Aniket Jadhav, yes, he's also regularly in ISL, played India age group, now part of the senior team squad. Apuya also, another midfielder you had. He is kind of one of the best player from that batch. Rahul KP, he is also kind of part of the Indian senior team squad. And I said Komal Thatal, let's go to the match, India versus Brazil. And not many know Vinicius Junior, now one of the best players in the world. He was in Goa, playing against your team.
Yeah.
We lost that game. He scored in that game.
Yeah.
Right, and how was the experience for the boys, playing Brazil and that the best Brazilian age group team?
Yeah, again, I remember that day completely because my assistant coach was actually, he received a red card, so I was on my own on the bench and we have, by the way, played many big players in those good 2 years I was in charge for the Indian under-17 national team. For example, we played in Norway.
Against
Haaland, and he also scored against us. And the most important thing is the plan for that World Cup was to really prepare that team and give them the necessary exposure against top teams. Because at the end of the day, for a World Cup, this is what you need. World Cup means the best teams of the world qualified for this event, and these are all future stars. And you said it. Look at Vinicius Junior now, right? He's and believe me,
maybe Ballon d'Or winner very soon.
And believe me, he was at that time not slower nor faster than he is now. I was on the sideline seeing him running and pass by, and he was extremely fast. And we still, I think, have done a good job in that game.
The scoreline was 3-1 in favor of Brazil.
It was a 3-1, and the last game we received, I think, in extra time. And I can still say the boys did a great job against them. From when you see the overall picture, and you guys also see the overall picture here in Germany and more developed countries when it comes to football, the boys could not be on the same level like these guys were. Not possible, but they gave their best, and a 3-1 was a great result. And that goal
by Komal,
he scored.
Yeah.
I still remember the sound in the stadium. That was amazing.
So we'll come on this Komal Thatal problems. That's Indian football problem, not Komal Thatal problem. But let's come back to the Bundesliga and what you're doing with Frankfurt and the Bundesliga International. What kind of role you have nowadays?
Yeah, I mean, after I came back from India, it was around March 2017. The first little while, I didn't do anything, to be honest. I enjoyed time for myself and with my family. People know what happened. The federation did not enjoy my service anymore, and but they had to pay me out because I haven't done anything wrong. So yeah, I say this with full confidence. I enjoy time for myself, and then got pretty early an offer from the German club I work for since, which is Eintracht Frankfurt, the same club where I come from, and I'm the head of international sport projects. That means I am in charge for whatever the club does on international level. I give you examples. We have an academy in Japan where we have youth teams playing in the competition there, and my job as a technical director basically is to transport the Eintracht playing style into those teams. Basically, we mirror what we do with our own kids in Frankfurt. We mirror in those academies worldwide, and we emphasize on quality, not on quantity. So we are not a club who tries to sell shirts or do the more clinics the better. No, we have a couple of prestige projects in markets we really believe in, and that's why I can say I really like my job, because it's an authentic way of making the brand Eintracht Frankfurt more popular worldwide.
And something very similar with Bundesliga is doing by the Bundesliga International or Bundesliga Dream programs, right? So I keep on telling Indian football fans that Bundesliga is one league who is actually trying to help Indian football, not just sell shirts, do screenings, last year India under-17 team was here. Beyond Fernandez, your ex-colleague.
I know he contacted me,
but
he couldn't meet at the time.
Your ex-colleague, they were here for 20 days. They played, best of German teams in Stuttgart and Frankfurt. Used best of Bundesliga infrastructure. Now we have nearly 11 kids at under 13 age group, maybe first time coming out from their home, having again best of Bundesliga experience. So how these projects by Bundesliga International, can help rising country like India, Indonesia, Vietnam. They're doing lots of stuff in Asia, right? So what's your opinion on that?
I honestly have to say that DFL does a great job in this regard. I think this is the way how it should be done, in my opinion. Everybody has the right to have their own opinion, but I think it's an authentic way that can really raise the bar in these countries. And it's not just a marketing tool. We try to do the job really with content. We really work with the kids. May it be grassroots level, may it be highest level. We had basically the youth national team from Vietnam and Thailand here last year. And this is, in my opinion, a very good way to do it. And the DFL represents basically all Bundesliga clubs, first and second division, and it's a nice symbiosis. It's also a good way to promote our league, and at the same time to do something good in the respective, we call it markets. But market always sounds a lot like business, and it is at the end. Football is a business, but as I said before to the boys or to you guys here, Eintracht is a very international city. It's a very international club. We can really say we had the first Chinese player in the Bundesliga.
And we saw the Japanese player retiring, what kind of farewell got.
Hasebe,
the Japanese legend, one of the biggest Asian footballer in this century.
Player. If there is really an authentic stage for a foreign player, then in my opinion it's Eintracht. Not because I work for them, but we proved in the past we had those players, and not only in the squad, they were really playing, and you saw Makoto's farewell.
Wow.
He is so well respected, and we keep him as an ambassador for the club. And of course I'm the first one who would love to see an Indian player doing that.
But we have so many problems which we need to find out solution for before getting an Indian player in Bundesliga. So coming back to now Brazil game, Komal Thatal scored in that match alongside Vinicius Junior. Fast forward 2024, Vinicius Junior is playing for Real Madrid, on the run for the maybe best footballer in the world now. And back in India, Komal Thatal, nowhere to be seen. Not even a regular in ISL team now. So why Indian player who do well at under 16 level, we compete, I'm not saying winning, but we, as you said, tough to beat. Your team was tough to beat at under 16 level. Why they don't progress when they get 19, 20 or 21? Why there is a gap in their progress from 16 to 20?
No, yeah, generally speaking, I would say this is not entirely an Indian problem. In general, the problem to make it from youth football to professional football, that gap is huge. And the reasons why still worldwide many players get lost and not make it to the top, there can be numerous reasons. I can't judge Komal's situation. Maybe the wrong agent. Maybe sometimes,
maybe wrong structure, because there is not enough games for him to play when 16 to 19. He is all the time since the under 17 World Cup. He signed a 5-year deal with the ATK at that time, and he remained on bench for 4 years.
Yeah, but see, that's what I mean. Like the most important thing is match praxis. In order to develop, you can offer the best training session, but it was pretty clear at the beginning when I took over and signed my contract with India. I already had a plan, and I said to the Federation and Sports Authority of India, guys, we need money to travel. We need exposure. We need a lot of games. There are statistics, how many games we had on top level, and this is how they develop. Of course, you are right when you say if there is no league structure within that age group, that's for sure a problem. That has to be worked on. But then again, you sign a contract with a professional league or a professional club, and because you sign it also because you think you make good money here.
5 years.
But
he's trapped in that 5 years then.
But yeah, you are trapped, and these are the decisive years. You need match praxis. I would not recommend to a player to sign such a long contract at such young age. And just figure out where is my spot now, and that's why we have the third Bundesliga in Germany for these young potentials. And it's sometimes maybe better to go a step back.
That's how it's good to take a step back, right? Go to I-League club maybe and play there, and
the absolutely top talents, they make their way, but there are so many different pathways to become a professional, but for all of them the most important one is match praxis.
So last year I was here 20 days. I think that's under 17 team which was here on the finest in terms of the technical ability. Asia Cup happened, they lost Japan 8-4, fantastic performance. Japan coach praised them. When they went back home, I was in touch with some of the boys, right? I told them, calm down, go to I-League, sign smaller contract. Most of them have signed 4-year, 5-year deal with ISL clubs, and not a single of them went to make any first team appearance other than maybe goalkeeper Sahil Punia, if I'm not wrong. So that's the major problem in structure, right? It's not a player fault. They also look for security, but maybe they have to think about if they can play, then they improve.
See, and you mentioned Japan. I am a lot in Japan because we have an academy there, and every time I go there, I learn more about the Japanese structure of football. For example, a young potential talent who plays, let's say, for our cooperation club, the Urawa Reds.
Yeah.
Before they have not played, I think it's 450 full minutes in the first squad, they cannot even get a huge contract.
Wow.
I first thought, what kind of rule is that? But it's more the humbled way. Hey, you are young.
You earn your contract.
You have to earn your contract, like 5-year contract. When I was a player at the time, we didn't even have that. We signed yearly contracts, to be honest with you, which is also right? Maybe not right. But I'm also, to be honest with you, I'm too far away from India now in the league structure there and so on. But again, match praxis is what you need. Match praxis. If you sit 5 years on the bench and you make good money because of the contract, congratulations. But at the end of the day, you are a football player.
You're done then. Play. In 5 years, don't play, you're done. And most of them, the names I know, they're not anywhere close to the top level now. Yeah. They're struggling for the new contracts or new deal. Yeah. So, coach, thank you very much for taking time. I know we have a limited time, we have to leave. But my last question is very simple.
Sure.
Going back home nowadays, does the thought come that you are not allowed to complete the work you started in India? That's wish you get a chance of 8 more months.
I want to be honest with you. That hurts the most. I told you before. Basically, I had to be paid out again.
And just for the viewers, those are young fans in India. he was not came India randomly. He was recommended by FIFA to AIFF because he was as a FIFA trainer at that time. Here is a young coach who's a very good with the young kids. That's how Nicolai came to India. It's not that he applied for the job or he was looking for the job. He was under the FIFA's rank, and FIFA sent him to India to build the team for first ever under-17 World Cup in India. So so that thought do come regularly in your mind, right?
Not regular. Like I said before, the whole experience as a whole, I really enjoyed. Even the dark side, but I would lie if I would say I don't. Of course, it feels bad not to have coached in the World Cup. Yeah. I would have loved to coach the boys in the World Cup, and I'm sure we would have done a good job. I'm not saying they haven't done a good job, but I put the team together, we trained them, we developed them, and I really think they were quite competitive.
Yeah, in the World Cup. So any message to your players and the fans back home, back in India, not home, back home for me, in India, especially to your players, who might want to get that something, a message from you to all of them, to the Indian football fans on camera, please.
Basically, the message I have is what we said now the minutes before, like, don't go the shortcut. I know it sounds like phrases, but there is no elevator or escalator to success. You have to take the steps. It is like that. And like I always say it, there is potential. I told you this in a private talk these days. If Amarjit would have stayed with me and I could have taken him to Germany to a club, I'm pretty sure he would compete now on the top level. Just as an example, yeah. But it doesn't help to look back for the future generations. All I can say is listen to something like this and then make your own decision and at least consider what we just talked about.
Of course, I thought last, but this is last. Will you like to come back to India and kind of role in future? If there is opportunity provided to you, you need,
I know
everything, and then
in football, never say never. Never say never. I have a really good job in my club here, and I'm home, which is
city.
It's my home city, and I still travel the world. But never say never, of course, And to be honest with you, the last 7 years, I'm almost 7 years with Eintracht Frankfurt. We won the cup competition in 2018. We won 22 the Europa League.
Komal in the 2018.
I cannot complain. At the same time, I have the setup in terms of family. My wife is from Canada. I told you this before. I met her in Japan when I was a player. We think international, so never say never. But when I say this, I'm not looking for a job right now. I have one,
maybe in future. You're still very young, coach.
Thank you. I'm 51 now, and I'm of course always open for adventure. But it also, before I give up my really good job here in Frankfurt, it would have to be a thing that we as a family say, hey, and I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about a challenge.
Well, not many coaches bring their family with them, right? You settle down in the same city where you're staying. That's one way of becoming like, you want to feel like Indian.
That's the beauty of my situation. I really have a wife and my two boys. You met them. We visited. They were, at least one of them was with us in the stadium against Leipzig. Yeah, we have, family-wise, we have the setup to think internationally and work internationally, because we always see more what we gain from it, My kids have friends all over the world.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have that if I would always live in Frankfurt.
Yeah.
And my really good friends, I can say that from the bottom of my heart. For example, next weekend I have a weekend off, where I go with my two best friends from school for how do you say that? We go and try to climb a mountain here in Germany. Hiking. And these guys I have not seen for a long time, but they are my friends forever and will always be. And it's the same with some people in India. We can only stay in touch via Facebook or WhatsApp or whatever it is. But when we see finally each other, beautiful. And what really connects us are the memories. I can really say I'm pretty lucky about that. And I include the bad memories. That's also part of it sometimes.
Okay, coach. Thank you very much. Good to see you. And, and I hope the young players and the Indian football officials, that's the right word, and which has not changed much since then. Setup is very similar. Practices are very similar. Can watch this, learn this, and try to help and develop Indian football. Thank you.